Bonjour Chris, Maxime Landry, TVA Nouvelle, Montréal. Vous semblez profiter pleinement de votre séjour à l'intérieur de la station spatiale. On vous suit de façon assidue sur Twitter. Est-ce que vous pensiez vraiment devenir l'astronaute 2.0 ou c'est quelque chose qui vous a pris totalement par surprise?
C'est une idée intéressante. Je suis juste un membre d'équipage ici. Nous sommes tellement occupés d'abord avec les expériences, avec l'opération de la station même. Mais en même temps, nous avons la technologie plus capable maintenant pour communiquer ce qu'on fait ici dans l'exploration de l'espace. C'est pas seulement la télévision, pas seulement email, mais c'est possible maintenant d'utiliser les moyens comme Twitter pour immédiatement peut-être plus savoir exactement ce qu'on fait ici dans l'espace. Et pour moi et pour l'équipage, c'est parfait parce que c'est une chose intéressante pour nous et comme j'ai vu, c'est intéressant pour tout le monde au Canada et au monde. Et donc, c'est juste nous, mais avec la technologie, c'est incroyable ce qui est possible.
Hi, Chris. Peter Ray from the Canadian Press. Everybody's been following you on Twitter, and I think this morning you were approaching 160,000 followers. I noted you're about 10 times more than Tom Marshburn. First of all, let's talk about the Twitter, and secondly, let's talk about all those photos. First of all, 160,000 followers, and that's only, I think, within 21 days. You started at 20,000, now you're up to 160,000.
Well, with any new technology, Peter, it takes a while for people to get used to it and to start using it. Look at anything. Look at telephones a little over 100 years ago, or airbags in cars. Even though the technology exists, more and more people become aware of how useful it can be. And what we're doing on Space Station is fundamentally fascinating. And I think the evidence shows through a measure like Twitter, where of course, the exploration we're doing, the experiments we're doing, but the view that it gives us of the world, and I think the way that it encapsulates where we are in history as well, of people permanently living Earth. With these new technologies of communications, we can directly give people the human side of that. And the fact that now, gosh, over 150,000 people are directly following what we're doing here every day. I think it's just a direct measure of how important and useful this is in the human experience.
Just one follow-up. Talking about those photos, everybody is talking about the images you're sending back. Just talk a little bit about those in English and then in French, and tell me, is there any favorite, or was there any among those photos that you've taken that really strikes you as more significant than others?
Since my first flight to the Russian space station Mir back 17 years ago, I've always maintained that the favorite pastime of astronauts is looking at the world out the window. It is so fundamentally beautiful and mesmerizing, and I've been doing my best with words to try and describe it ever since I first saw it from on board the Space Shuttle Atlantis just after we launched. And now I can directly, as I see beautiful things, send those pictures to the ground, and you can see the reaction. It has captured the eyes and therefore the minds and imaginations of so many people. It's such a wonderful place to better understand our planet. And for me, I love the beautiful pictures of the world, but the one that was the most significant for me was looking at they're noctilucent clouds. These are clouds that you can barely see from the surface of the Earth. They're the highest clouds that exist, tiny ice particles way up in the mesosphere, and yet from orbit, as the sun rises, the light bounces off of those clouds directly into our eyes, and we can see a part of the Earth's atmosphere that's basically invisible to people on the surface. To me, that's both beautiful because of the colors and textures and ripples of it, but it's also really significant. It's a way to understand understand the changes in our atmosphere and a way to understand exactly how our atmosphere interacts with the universe beyond. So the ability to take pictures up here, it fulfills all sorts of different purposes and needs, and we are so lucky to be able to be the ones holding the cameras. Et en français, c'est incroyable de voir la chance de prendre les photos comme ça. C'est merveilleux. Depuis mon premier vol sur la station spatiale russe Mir il y a 17 ans, j'ai dit que le pastime, la chose la plus favorite pour les astronautes, c'est de voir la Terre. C'est fascinant de faire ça. Et dans cette vol, nous avons la technologie comme Twitter pour immédiatement donner ces images à la Terre, au tout le monde. Et pour moi, peut-être le plus favori, c'est les nuages en haut, les nuages noctilucents qui sont presque impossibles à voir de la Terre, mais ici de la station, c'est possible de les voir. Donc c'est une chose tellement belle avec les couleurs et les textures, mais aussi une chose tellement intéressante pour les scientifiques parce que c'est une chose rare et une chose peut-être une indication de l'échange de l'atmosphère. Donc nous sommes dans un endroit ici unique pour témoigner les changements, aussi pour témoigner en part de tout le monde sur la Terre.
Hello, Elizabeth Howell from space.com. Today's, as you know, is a special Canadian Day sort of on station and also at NASA. And I just was wondering, what sort of aspects of Canadiana are you trying to bring to the world as you're working up there? Thank you.
Hello, Elizabeth. Today, on board the space station, we operated Canadarm2. And if you look at the direct link, it's amazing. We have the Canadian Space Agency in Saint-Hubert, just outside Montreal, with controllers there who are monitoring the health of the Canadarm. They have people working down in Houston that are watching it, Canadians and people from other countries. And then sitting in mission control today was astronaut Jeremy Hansen this morning and astronaut David Saint-Jacques this afternoon. And they're talking directly to me, a Canadian, on board the space station as I have my hands and I'm operating Canadarm2. And that Canadarm built this space station. We're not the biggest partner by any means in the space station project, but we are a trusted and respected and capable partner. And what Canada has done is world class. And to be able to link it right through from the mission control back room at the Canadian Space Agency in Saint-Hubert, right through to my hands on the controls and Canadarm moving around up here on the space station, to me, it's a real demonstration of international partnership, but also a real demonstration of Canada's capabilities and some of the places we can go in the future.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you have any parts of Canadian culture that you're also trying to portray, as well as the robotics?
I think everybody's proud of where they're from. On board, we have people from Belarus, from Russia, historically from the Ukraine, Tom and Kevin from the United States, and myself from Canada. When we get together, we talk about family, we talk about where we're from, we talk about things that we grew up with. When we got together for Christmas, and it was both the 25th of December Christmas and the Russian Orthodox Christmas, we talked about each of us, about what our traditions were, and for New Year's as well, how we celebrated it with our families and our friends. And so I here represent Canada. And so I talk about how I grew up and what values are important in Canada. And between Canada and Russia and the US, we cover a lot of the world's dirt, a lot of the world's territory. And so there's lots of opportunity while you're looking out the window together to share the experience. And I've had several moments quietly floating in the cupola with one of the other crew members as the two of us in sort of a hushed, awe-filled conversation talk about what we're seeing, what it means to us, what we feel sort of as representatives of everyone that we came from on Earth. And we share that experience internationally up here. The space station is a wonderful crucible for that.
Hi, it's Alan Woods from the Toronto Star newspaper. You're talking about the impression that some of these images leave with you. One of the images that I was struck by was your picture of Syria, over Syria, and you said it looks so peaceful from up here, but you know, the reality on the ground is much different. How does what you're seeing change your impression of the world when you come back down to Earth?
The perspective that we are subject to, that we are privileged enough to see directly with our eyes, is one that I think would benefit everyone. To go around the world in just slightly over 90 minutes, to see the whole world in 90 minutes, and then by the time you've come around the world, with the world turning underneath you, by the time you've come around the world, it's turned and you come over a new part. So the world just unrolls itself for you, and you see it absolutely discreetly as one place. And so when we do look down on a place that is currently in great turmoil or strife, it's hard to reconcile the inherent patience and beauty of the world with the terrible things that we can do to each other as people, and can do to the earth itself locally. And if people, I think, could see the perspective more clearly, and that's part of the reason that we work so hard to communicate what we're doing up here as an international team, is to try and just give people a little glimpse of that global perspective, that understanding of the fact that we're all in this together, and that this is a spaceship, but so is the world. And yes, there are important territorial issues, there are important personal issues, but at the same time, with increased communication, with increased understanding, comes a more global perspective, and it's one that we feel incredibly honored to see directly, and one that we do our best to try and pass on to everybody. And 160,000 people are looking through my eyes every day, and hopefully some of them internalize some of it also.
Alors, bonjour, Monsieur Hadfield. Pascal Robidan, journaliste à la télévision de Radio-Canada. Vous avez manipulé le bras canadien ce matin. On voulait savoir également l'objet de vos recherches que vous avez participé à bord de la Station spatiale internationale.
Oui, la station spatiale, c'est absolument un laboratoire. C'est pas seulement un laboratoire, mais un laboratoire ici, c'est le laboratoire américain, mais il y a un autre européen, un autre japonais, un autre de russe aussi. Et c'est le Canada 2, notre manipulateur fameux, qui a arrimé, qui a construit tout ça. Donc, c'est absolument un endroit international. Il y a beaucoup des expériences différentes. Il y avait une expérience de le fluide physique hier soir, japonais, tellement intéressant. C'est une expérience impossible à faire sur Terre. C'est nécessaire d'avoir un environnement d'apaisanteur absolument tranquille, avec aucune force de gravité. Et avec ça, c'est possible de construire comme un pont de l'eau pour mieux savoir exactement comment la fluide fonctionne. C'est juste pour plus savoir les choses fondamentales. Il y a des expériences pour des colloïdes que j'ai fait ce matin. C'est pour les systèmes hydrauliques. C'est possible de faire l'expérience ici, impossible sur Terre. Juste après la conférence de presse, je fais une chose ici à une température très élevée pour savoir comme les métals se mélangent sans l'effet de gravité dans l'apesanteur. Aussi des expériences médicaux, les expériences canadiennes pour savoir le système de régler la pression dans le corps, le système de savoir comment notre balance fonctionne, tout ça. Toujours vers de 100 expériences différentes qui fonctionnent toujours ici dans la station spatiale. Donc c'est une... chez nous, c'est tellement occupé. Il y a des choses à faire pour les astronautes ici.
Et peut-être une dernière question. Vous êtes un amateur de musique. Lorsque vous regardez la planète Terre, quelle est la chanson qui vous revient en tête?
Oui, je suis astronaute, mais en même temps, je suis musicien depuis des années. Nous avons une guitare canadienne ici dans la station, à l'arrivée. Et j'ai pris la chance de jouer ça presque chaque soir après le travail. Au temps de Noël, c'était parfait pour célébrer, pour chanter ensemble. Mon frère et moi, nous avons écrit une chanson pour Noël et j'ai eu la chance d'enregistrer ça et je pense que beaucoup de monde ont déjà vu ça, écouté ça avec YouTube. Mais pour moi, c'est les chansons folkloriques, les chansons de Canada que j'aime le plus. Et je pas seulement un chanteur, mais j'écris des chansons de temps en temps. Je suis en train maintenant d'écrire quelques chansons de la vie sur Terre, mais aussi peut-être avec l'influence de la vie ici dans la pesanteur. Et après 5 mois, peut-être je vais avoir assez pour un disque. Mais c'est juste une chose après le travail. Mais pour moi, c'est une chose nécessaire pour l'humanité, une chose humaine, une chose intéressante. Et je suis chanceux que nous avons une guitare ici avec nous.
Hi, this is Joanne Brackus from CBC Television here in Montreal. I've thought long and hard about what to ask you because there's so much to ask. Hello. What still surprises you after all this time? I mean, of course, there's the robotics, there's everything that's going on up there, but I mean, you're floating and you're playing around and what is still surprising to you about being up there after all of these years?
Well, this is my 3rd space flight, but yesterday I equaled my entire time that I had previously in space. After 20 years of being an astronaut, I'd only been in space for 20 days. But now with the Soyuz flight back on the 19th and with the time on station, I'm now up over twice that. So even though my experience is growing, there are still lots of surprises. Something I noticed this morning, on Earth, when I get up first thing in the morning, I find sometimes I'm a little bit clumsy as my body's waking up. I discovered you can be clumsy in weightlessness. And when I come out of my sleeping berth and come floating right down here to go into what is basically our galley in our bathroom, I bump into things. Even though I'm floating weightless, you can still have the morning clumsies up here. And that surprised me. The other thing that surprises me is the difference between visiting space, which is what happened the last 2 times, and living in space, which is what's happening now. The incredible privilege of truly living this experience, of not having to rush everything, of not making everything one time, but actually being able to have a measured, thoughtful existence, to really absorb what it's like. That's different this time. And the richness of that, the impact on me personally, and hopefully on my ability to capture it and describe it to people for the rest of my life is much, much deeper. And I really count myself lucky to have that.
My bosses would kill me if I didn't ask you this. I'm going to try to get you to say something about the Habs and the Leaves. Playing, if you can. Maybe a little go Habs go, I don't know. I had to try.
I'm really pleased that the NHL is starting to play again. I love hockey. I love watching hockey. I think it's a great tradition and it's a great sport. And I'm really looking forward to watching. They pipe the games up to me here, and I can watch them while I'm working out. This is a piece of workout equipment right next to me, and it's a great thing to be able to put on and watch. And the first team I fell in love with and therefore that I'm loyal to my whole life is the Leafs, and I'm looking forward to watching the season begin and watching them play. But in reality, what I really like is people that are taking themselves to the limits of their capability to do something that is just barely possible. And that happens in sport. And that's what I really respect about the Olympics and NHL quality hockey. But it's what I respect about this place too. It is a huge team on the ground working, taking the things that we can do right to the very limit of human capability and seeing what you can find out there. And I really respect that. It's what I've shaped my whole life around. And the Leafs are still unbeaten. So I hope their season continues so well. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Nice to talk with everyone, and absolute best wishes from the crew of the International Space Station.